He was 19, hungry to prove himself under the brutal lights of American football, when a collision with a 28-year-old veteran shattered more than his ribs. What began as rivalry turned into dangerous glances, secret midnight texts, and stolen moments under the glow of a streetlight. Every tackle blurred into something deeper. Every whispered correction burned like a touch he wasn't supposed to want. But the game has eyes, and one teammate caught their say, producing a single photo to threaten their futures. With the season on the line, he faced an impossible choice: betray the man who haunted his every breath, or protect him and risk everything. A bruise can fade, but desire leaves marks that never heal. In a world built on discipline, silence, and fear, two men found themselves colliding again and again until the truth could no longer stay buried. When the whistle blows for the final time, will love survive, or will the field devour them both? I was 19 and desperate to belong when I stepped into the August heat of a Florida training combine. The air tasted like rubber and salt, and every whistle sounded like a verdict. We weren't a college program with marching bands. We were a proving ground, kids hoping for scholarships, free agents hoping for one last call. That's where I first lined up across from him, Jason Hale, 28, a name said with respect and warning. Head bounced through practice squads and injuries, the kind of man who looks like a lesson even before he speaks. He stared at me through his face mask and tilted his head like he was reading a book had already finished. "You the freshman?" he asked. I nodded. The whistle chirped and his world hit mine at full speed. He didn't tackle me, he folded me, clean and punishing. The turf burned my forearm, my ribs rattled, and the taste of adrenaline went metallic. He hovered over me for the reset, glove on my chest. "You good," he said, not soft, not loud. I nodded too fast. His hand stayed one beat too long, then lifted like head remembered where we were. The second rep was worse because I wanted to beat him. Wanting made me sloppy. He shot the gap, we collided, and a shock ran down my spine. Over the noise, I heard his voice at my ear. "Don't chase me. Make me come to you." He stepped back, and I told myself the heat was why my skin felt electric. By the fourth rep, I hated him. By the fifth, I hated myself for caring how his voice landed in me. He watched without blinking, jaw set, measuring my mistakes. When he said again, I lined up faster than I should have, like my body had already learned his gravity. After drills, we dragged pads toward the tunnel, where the light turned narrow and hard. The team noise stayed outside. Jason set his helmet on a concrete ledge and ran a towel along the back of his neck. His shoulders were carved by years of conditioning, but there was fatigue in the way he moved, as if he'd been carrying something besides football. "You run angry," he said. "I run to make a roster," I shot back. He gave a half smile. "Anger's a short battery. Find a longer power source." He stepped in at obvious, not casual. The tunnel held his voice like a secret. "You good?" he asked again, and the question felt different, not about ribs or breath. "I'm fine," I said. My legs trembled. I kept them still by will. He moved to pass, then stopped, his forearm brushing mine through the pad sleeve. Two players in tight space, nothing on paper, but it burned like breaking a rule in church. "Don't chase me," he repeated and walked out. That night the dorm fan clicked like a metronome while I replayed the drill. I tried to run film like coach's doorsteps, leverage, hand placement, but the tape kept sticking on his hand on my chest and the slow lift of it. I told myself he was just a veteran talking to a kid. My body didn't listen. Morning came with whistles, caffeine, tape, and the hopeful silence of men pretending not to be terrified. Live period, I lined up across from Jason again. He never talked first. He let you make the story, then he rewrote the ending. Snap, I drove inside where danger lives, and he met me with a shoulder that taught me weight and balance in a second. We tangled, the world narrowed to leather and breath and hands finding purchase. "Settle," he hissed, and the word clicked when I sank into my stance instead of reaching out of it. For one heartbeat I occupied my body without apology. The play broke elsewhere, a whistle cut the air. We reset. He stood too close for a veteran and a kid who barely knew the terminology. "You learning freshman, I'm not your student," I said. He looked at me like I'd told a joke, only he understood. Everybody's somebody's student. The whistle went again. Noon turned the sky white. I hit the lockers late to avoid the crush. The room hummed with showers and a tinny playlist. I peeled my jersey carefully, mindful of the tape around my ribs. Jason's locker was 2 rows over, the veteran's corner. He came in head down, towel low at his hips. He didn't look at me. I focused on my routine cloths, tape, ice, but my hands wouldn't follow orders. He dropped onto the bench and braced his elbows on his knees. The muscles in his back moved with each breath. He reached for a roll of tape by his foot, missed, and exhaled like head swallowed a word. I stepped forward before I knew I would. I picked up the tape and set it beside him. "You missed," I said. His gaze lifted slowly. Up close without helmets, his eyes were lighter than I expected, a gray that caught light and kept it. "Thanks," he said, and our fingers almost touched. Almost. He sat back. "You did fine today. Fine make rosters. Fine learns faster." He unwound the tape. "What's your name?" I told him. Hearing it in his mouth felt like a test I wanted to pass. He nodded, then pressed 2 fingers against the tape over my ribs, checking pressure like he was calibrating a dial. The contact was light, almost professional, but his fingers didn't leave right away. Warmth seeped through the gauze, steady, measuring. The locker room thinned to the square of his touch and the space between our breaths. He withdrew first. I breathed again. "You'll bruise," he said. "Let it teach you something that stays. What should it teach me?" He shouldered his bag, and for a moment we were the same height, the same breath, the same danger, how to stop chasing. He said and walked out, leaving the tape on the bench and my name burning like a play we hadn't run yet. The bruise woke me before the alarm did. It spread under the tape like a storm watermark, tender when I breathed too sharp. I dressed slow, counted each motion like a penalty, and told myself pain meant progress. The hallway smelled like muscle rub and burnt coffee. In the film room, the projector hummed and coaches sharpened their voices. They froze a frame where I reached, lunged, lost leverage. "See that?" Coach tapped the screen with a pen. "This is how you miss a career." Laughter came from the dark like friendly knives. I swallowed it, another frame, Jason fitting through a crease that looked too small for a roomer. He made the field obey him. Coach grunted, textbook. Jason didn't look back at us. He just sat straight, forearms on knees, eyes front. After film, we hit the weight room, iron singing. I kept my face blank and counted reps like prayers. Jason drifted near my rack. He spotted me through a heavy set, fingers skimming the bar, his breath even while mine broke. When I racked it wrong, he nudged my elbow. "Don't reach," he said. "Stack." He showed me with his body hips under, ribs quiet, hands calm. 3 seconds, and it lived in me like a new alphabet. In the training room, the tables were lined like safe harbors. I lay down and stared at an acoustic tile until it looked like a map. The trainer pressed a cold pack into my ribs. "You'll live," she said, bored but kind. When she left to grab tape, Jason stepped into the doorway, shirt clinging in ways that suggested effort, not vanity. "You listened," he said. "To what? The thing about stacking?" His gaze flicked to my wrapped side. "How bad? Bad enough to remind me?" He came closer, a careful kind of close. "Can I?" He meant the tape. I nodded. He slid his palm along the edge, testing the seal, not the skin. His thumb paused over the bone like he could reset me with pressure. Heat climbed through the gauze, small and unmistakable. He exhaled. I counted the beats inside the breath. "You're overcorrecting," he said. "You're holding your breath on contact. Let it move through you. That easy." "No," he said, and the corner of his mouth lifted. "But possible." The trainer returned and he stepped back, hands in pockets like he'd been there for water. He left before I could name the feeling. Practice ran long. We finished with gassers until our feet felt like someone else's. The parking lot was mostly trucks and Los, lung cars that rattled bass lines. My Corolla sulked, the key turning with the sound of a decision not made. "You're flooding it," Jason said, appearing like he'd been invited. He leaned in, shoulder to doorframe, not to me. "Pump too many times, you drown it." Not I stopped. I was. "Come on." He jerked his chin toward his truck. "It'll drop you." Inside the cab, the air still held a trace of last night's rain. He didn't turn on music. The silence made room for each sound click of my seatbelt, the rubber sigh of the road, the way his hand settled at 10 and 2 like discipline could be visible. "You from here?" he asked. "Not really. Northern Georgia. Family. A dad who thinks football is a church. A mom who learned to pray quietly. I regretted the words the moment they left." "Coaches like dads," he said. "They see what they want and call it love. And you?" I had a coach who wanted me at linebacker when my buddy said no. By the time I listened, the roster spots were gone. He checked his mirrors with a precision that suggested history. "You have a floor, don't trade it for someone else's ceiling." The compliment landed like a hidden bruise. "Stop calling me kid." He almost smiled, earned the other name. A Waffle House sign flickered yellow over the road. He pulled into a gas station instead and cut the engine. "Phone," he said. I handed it over before I could ask why. He saved a number under film. The label looked like a door with the key still in it. "Text me clips. I'll mark them up. No one needs to know. This isn't weird." The word felt small. "It's coaching," he said, then softer between us. He handed the phone back, and my fingers brushed his first contact not blessed by sport or excuse. Skin met skin for a breath that went on too long. My pulse stumbled. He opened the door first, air rushing in like an alibi. Back at the dorm, everything was its usual noise. Microwaves, showers, someone laughing like Head found the cure. I locked myself in my room and scrolled to the new contact, GIF-film. I filmed 3 clips on my laptop, angles that showed my stance and the ugly reach I couldn't stop making. My thumbs hovered over send. The glow of the screen turned my ribs silver. I hit send. A minute later, lower hips. Hands inside. Don't chase. Make me come to you. I filmed another. Sent it. Better. First step quiet. Another. You breathe like you owe someone money. Breathe like it's yours. I smiled at a wall. Then a second text. 6 a.m. Wait room, no one else, if you want. I typed, erased, typed again. It'll be there. Before sleep I turned off the light and lay still. The bruise throbbed like an engine idling under my skin. The room was dark except for a thin line beneath the door. My phone lit one more time with a final message, "Don't be late." I placed it face down, but the glow lived behind my eyes. I set the alarm for 5 and closed my hand over my ribs as if I could hold them quiet. Somewhere in the building a door closed. It sounded like decision. The alarm dragged me out of a shallow sleep. 5 a.m. was too early for anything except regret, but I laced my shoes and stepped into the Florida dark. The gym lights burned harsh and empty. Jason was already there, waiting like Head never left. His hoodie was gray, hood down, headphones around his neck. He didn't look surprised to see me. He looked like Head been expecting me his whole life. "Warm up," he said. No smile, no greeting, just command. I jogged the treadmill, ribs tight, eyes flicking to him every few strides. He stretched with the slow patience of a man who owned his body. When I finished, he moved to the rack. Spot me, his voice was casual, but his eyes tested me. The bar pressed heavy against his chest. I gripped it, breath synced to his. His arms trembled once, veins sharp against his skin, and I realized how close we were, his breath hitting my wrist. His gaze locked on mine even while he pushed weight like a machine. He racked the bar, sat up, and wiped sweat from his forehead. "Your turn." I lay back. The ceiling hummed with fluorescent indifference. His hands hovered above the bar, close enough to feel heat but not touch. "Steady," he whispered. My arms shook halfway up, and his palms caught the bar, guiding but not carrying. When he leaned closer, his breath brushed my cheek. I fought gravity, fought nerves, fought the impossible desire to hold that moment longer. The set ended. I sat up too fast, ribs protesting. He steadied me by the shoulder. His hand stayed. A second too long. My skin burned. "Better," he said. Silence stretched. Machines hummed around us, but the gym felt like it belonged to only 2 people, teacher and student, predator and prey, or something neither of us could name. After drills, he handed me his bottle. I hesitated, then drank. Water cold, plastic warm, lips where his had been. He noticed, didn't comment, just watched, eyes unreadable. "You hungry?" he asked. We walked to a diner where the waitress knew him by name. He ordered black coffee. I ordered too much food. He smirked. 19 metabolism, he said. I wanted to ask why me. Why he cared, but I couldn't. The question lived between us, heavy as the weights Wed just lifted. When he dropped me at the dorm, I lingered at the truck door. "Thanks," I muttered. His eyes caught mine. Quiet, unblinking. "Don't thank me yet." His hand tapped the steering wheel twice, nervous or deliberate. I couldn't tell. I stepped out, heart hammering, the door shut. He drove off without looking back. That night, I replayed every second. His hand on my shoulder, his breath at my ear, the bottle between us. None of it crossed a line, all of it did. And for the first time, I admitted it. I didn't hate him. I wanted him. By mid-season, the bruise on my ribs had faded, but the one in my head grew darker. Jason had become my shadow in ways no one noticed. The text pings at night, the silent nods across the field, the corrections whispered like secrets. He was 28, I was 19, and the gap between those numbers felt like a canyon no one else could see. The crack came on a Saturday scrimmage, full stands, coaches watching like vultures, the air buzzing with scouts who scribbled notes. I lined up across from Jason. He gave me the look, one that meant trust me, play smart, but I wanted more than smart. I wanted to prove I wasn't just his student. The snap came. I lunged, reckless, and cut into his lane. For a heartbeat, I saw daylight, the chance to shine, but my foot caught his, our bodies collided, and the play collapsed. The whistle blew, the stadium exhaled. Jason's helmet ripped off as he turned on me, face twisted with fury. What the hell was that? His voice thundered loud enough for everyone. I was trying, you were trying to get us killed. He shoved my shoulder. Not playful, not secret, public. I stumbled back, cheeks burning, teammates stared, coaches scribbled. My chest locked tight, not from pain but humiliation. The rest of practice blurred. Every mistake was mine, every glare his. I kept my helmet on to hide the heat in my eyes. After the final whistle, the locker room buzzed with laughter and showers, but I felt hollow. Jason didn't speak to me, didn't even look. That night I found myself outside his apartment, hands shaking on the steering wheel. The lights were on inside, TV glow flickering against blinds. I almost left, but I knocked. He opened the door, sweatpants and a t-shirt, hair damp from a shower. His eyes narrowed. You shouldn't be here. You humiliated me. My voice cracked. You humiliated yourself. No, I stepped closer. You wanted to prove I was nothing without you. He exhaled, jaw tight. You're a kid chasing spotlight. Am trying to keep you alive. Then why do you... I stopped myself, but the words had already reached the air. Why do you look at me like that? His silence was louder than shouting. He ran a hand over his face, pacing once, twice. Don't start something you can't finish. I didn't start this, I whispered. He froze. For a long second he looked broken, like he wanted to tell me everything and nothing at once. Then his expression hardened. Go home, rookie. The door closed, not slammed, but final. Back at the dorm, I lay awake, replaying every fray. Amith shove, the glare, the locked jaw at his apartment door. For the first time since meeting him, I felt more anger than pull. Anger that he could drag me into his orbit, then push me away the moment it burned too bright. The bruise inside me deepened. This time it wasn't in my ribs. It was in my chest. The week after Jason shut the door on me, I tried to pretend he didn't exist. I trained harder, studied film longer, let bruises stack like tally marks, but silence has its own weight, and his absence pressed on me heavier than any linebacker. I kept catching him in the corners of my vision, correcting rookies, running drills, his body as precise as a metronome. He never looked at me, but I felt him like static on my skin. Then came the night game under stadium lights. College scouts lined the bleachers, notepads ready. My chance. I strapped my helmet so tight it hurt, telling myself this would be the night I proved I didn't need him. Second quarter, kickoff return. I sprinted into the open field, cut left, felt the ground vanish under me. A helmet slammed my ribs and I spun into the turf. The crack echoed inside me, sharp, wrong. Pain flared white. I tried to get up. My body refused. The crowd noise blurred, replaced by the sound of my breath short, panicked, broken. Then Jason was there, kneeling beside me, visor up, eyes wild. Stay down. His voice was urgent, nothing like the calm drill. Sergeant tone I knew. Trainers rushed over, but he stayed, one hand bracing my shoulder. Look at me, he said. Breathe with me. In, out. Match me. The trainers cleared me off the field, but Jason never left my side. In the locker room, he hovered while they checked my ribs. No break, just a deep bruise. The doc said I was lucky. I didn't feel lucky. I felt fragile. When the room emptied, Jason lingered, pacing like a caged animal. You could been done tonight, he muttered. I wasn't. You don't get it. He finally stopped, eyes burning into me. One bad step, one stupid mistake, and everything's gone. You think it's about highlight reels, it's about survival. And what about you? My voice cracked, but I held his stare. Why do you care if I survive? His jaw tightened. For a long moment, silence stretched between us. Then softer, because I see too much of myself in you. The words hit harder than the tackle. My chest pulled tight, but not from pain. He turned to leave. I grabbed his wrist without thinking. His skin was warm, pulse hammering under my fingers. For a second, he didn't move, our eyes locked. Something unspoken hung between us, something dangerous. He pulled away first. You shouldn't do that. But later that night my phone lit up. You okay? 3 words, nothing more. I stared at the screen, my thumb trembling. Hurts like hell, I wrote back. Seconds later, meet me, parking lot. 10 minutes, I shouldn't have gone, but I did. His truck was parked under the only working streetlight. He leaned against the hood, arms crossed, shadows cutting sharp across his face. When he saw me limp closer, his expression cracked, just slightly. He opened the passenger door. Get in. We drove without music, without words. The world outside blurred fast food signs, empty highways, the dark smear of pine trees. Finally, he pulled into an abandoned practice field, grass overgrown, lights long dead. He killed the engine. The silence roared. Why here? I asked. No one comes here anymore. His voice was low, almost tired. We sat in the dark, breath sinking like old teammates. Finally he spoke. I shouldn't have yelled at you at practice. I lost it. I shook my head. You humiliated me, and I hate that I did. He turned toward me, face half, lit by the streetlight glow. But you make me lose control, on the field off it. The confession hung in the air like a strike of lightning. My pulse surged, then stop fighting it, I whispered. He stared at me, eyes sharp, pained alive. His hand twitched on the console, like he wanted to reach across but couldn't. You don't know what this costs, maybe I don't care. His breath caught the sound raw. For a moment the world tilted toward him, eyes shoulder-brushing mine, his warmth radiating through the cab. And then headlights flashed in the rearview mirror. Another car swung into the lot, slowing. Jason stiffened. Get down, my heart slammed. The car circled once, then pulled away, but the moment was gone. Jason started the engine, jaw locked. This is why, he muttered. This is what happens if anyone sees. We rode back in silence, the road stretching endless. When he stopped outside my dorm, I reached for the handle. His hand caught my arm, just for a second. His thumb pressed into my sleeve, firm, steady, electric. Be careful, he said. Then he let go. I stepped out into the night, ribs aching, head spinning, heart split wide open. I watched his taillights fade, knowing the danger wasn't the tackle, or the scouts, or even the silence. The danger was what Wed started, and the fact that someone else might have already seen. The text hit after dawn practice from a number with no name. A photo of Jason's truck under that lonely streetlight, our silhouettes in the cab. I know what you two are. Tonight you miss protection. Let him get hit, or this goes to coach, group chat, and 100 hungry accounts. My mouth went dry. I paced the building twice, then went to the film room. Jason was there. Projector paused on my stance. Read, I said, handing my phone over. He did. Jaw set. Who? No idea. He looked at the photo like it was evidence from a case had already lost. You're not taking a dive, he said. I know you want. Someone gets hurt. You mean? Any of us, he said, then softer, but yes. Silence hummed with the projector. He rubbed his neck like he could wipe off a decade. I should have sent you away the first day, you tried. It didn't stick. Anger flared. You pull me in, then shove me away in public. If you're my teacher, teach me what to do with this. I tapped the screen. Do I tank a play to save you, or play honest and let them burn us? He stepped in, too close for mentor and rookie. You play honest, he said. If it destroys me, I let it. Why you? Because I should have known better. Something broke loose. I chose this too. His eyes lifted raw. Say it again. I chose it. I choose you. He inhaled like it hit bone. His forehead almost touched mine. His hand lifted, then curled to a fist, falling back like restraint had weight. Don't make me forget where we are, he whispered. A knock on the door snapped it. A manager needed the room. Jason pocketed my phone, then handed it back like it burned. We suit up, he said. Clean, no dives. By kickoff, the threat multiplied. A clip arrived sliding into his truck, his hand on my shoulder one beat too long. Tonight, the caption read, prove what team you're on. First quarter I guarded my gap like it was a secret. Second quarter we both stepped to the same blitzer and met chest to chest. He trusted me, I trusted him back. Halftime tasted like tin. Another text, last chance, third quarter, 2 minutes in. 2 minutes in the pocket frayed. The late blitzer came free for Jason's blind side. If I stepped aside, the hit would land clean. The world narrowed to a single fork I chose. I crashed into the lane and took the helmet to my hip. Pain detonated. The whistle came like distant thunder. Jason's hand hooked my pad and hauled me up. You good? He asked too loud, like he needed the stadium to hear the ordinary. Am good, I lied. We won by 3. In the tunnel, the noise thinned to the clack of cleats. Micah waited, seconds, string corner with a phone always out. He leaned on cinder block like Head rehearsed it. Nice block, he said. Shame if someone learned why you suddenly care so much about our golden boy, Jason squared. Walk, he told me. I didn't. How much? I asked Micah. He laughed. Not money. Maybe a starting spot. Maybe watching a saint bleed. He showed his screen, the streetlight, the truck, our shadows. Then today's collision in slow. Mo, our bodies meeting like choreography. Coach loves tape, he said. Twitter loves a story. Delete it, Jason said. Make me. Jason took a step. I pressed a hand to his chest. Daunt, Micah grinned. Cute, he tapped. Already sent. My phone vibrated, then became a Hive team thread. A dim labeled coach office, even a local stringer. The leak wasn't coming. It had arrived. Something in me steadied. Panic burned off like alcohol. I turned to Jason. He looked forged from the same heat that welded us all season fear, want, and stubborn care. Whatever happens, they don't name it, I said. His knuckles brushed my jaw like a promise. He didn't kiss me, he didn't have to. His breath touched my mouth line we drew, the one we could live with. We tell the truth we can live with, he said. Coach's voice boomed down the tunnel. Hail, freshman, office now. We walked the long hallway together, shoulder to shoulder, passing posters that preached discipline and brotherhood. My hip screamed every step. His hand hovered near my back, never touching, always there. Outside the door, he caught my wrist, pulse to pulse. I thought the worst thing would be losing the game, he said. I was wrong. What's the worst thing? Losing the chance to say I wanted you. He let go before the door opened. Inside, the blinds too open, the laptop looping that streetlight, Coach sat stone, still, hands steepled, the kind of quiet that makes men lie. Explain, he said. I took a breath that finally felt mine. I want miss protections, I said. I want take dives. I want lie about a thing that made me play braver. Jason's voice landed beside mine, and I want let him hang alone. Coach didn't speak. He scrubbed a palm over his jaw, played the clip again, slower, as if speed could change truth. You know what this does to a locker room, he said at last. It already did, I answered. We're just telling it what to do next. The room held its breath. On the screen, the light kept shining. In my chest, something unclenched. Not relief, not yet, choice. Fallout would come. Phones would ring. Spots could vanish. But for the first time since I met him in the Florida heat, the field in my head went quiet. We had chosen. Now the world would answer. The fallout came fast. Phones buzzed, screens lit up, whispers swirled through the dorm like wildfire. By morning, half the team had seen the clip, and the other half pretended they hadn't. Coach didn't bench me, but he didn't look at me the same either. Jason kept his helmet low, ran drills harder, and spoke less. In the cafeteria, silence followed us. Not anger, not laughter, just silent Seth kind that weighs heavier than noise. I learned quickly that nothing spreads faster than what people think they saw. At night, my phone glowed with his messages. You holding up. Don't answer them. Well, get through this. Words that steadied me, even as the ground shifted beneath us. But in public, he was stone, a leader untouchable. I hated him for it. I needed him for it. The last time we spoke in person, it was under the same streetlight where everything began. He leaned against his truck, hands shoved deep in his hoodie pocket. They'll cut me after this season, he said flatly. Doesn't matter how well I play. No team wants distraction. My throat tightened, and me, you'll still have a shot. You're young. They'll forgive you faster. I don't want forgiveness. I whispered, I want you. His eyes flicked to mine, gray and unreadable. For a second, he looked like he might step forward, close the gap, give me the thing we both carried but never named. Instead, he shook his head, sometimes wanting isn't enough. He climbed into the truck, the engine growling like anger, like regret. I stood in the glow of the streetlight as his taillights faded into dark. My ribs ached, my chest burned. The bruise he gave me in that first drill had healed, but this one wouldn't, and as the night swallowed him, I realized the field had never been the real battlefield. It was here, in the quiet after the whistle where no one cheered, no one clapped, and all that remained was the choice of what to carry, and what to let break you.